Okay, we are recording. Welcome to Office Hours, and we will start with you first. And let's see, I'm going to recap your first question here. So you were working on a search feature that you adapted from the Google clone.
Yes.
And you're wanting to see the Google clone is like a build Google search tutorial that we have. So it sounds like you may have used that to try and build a search here in your app. And you're wanting to make it insensitive. Is it case sensitive by default right now?
I think so. If I type in like a capitalized first letter, then it's not searching the word.
Yep.
Because my keyword is in lowercase.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then,
Okay, good.
well, I was going to say, Drew, you had chatted her some suggestions, I believe, and you tried to implement those. How did that go, Anne?
So yeah, what I did, first of all, thank you, Drew, for your instructions. I feel like I might need a little bit more guidance because I might be adding it to the wrong thing. So what I did was on this grid list right here, I went to the data collection and added like filter for tags, because you suggested that I add a new field called tags. I'm assuming that it's in the data collection along with the keywords, and I add another field called tags and I put in a bunch of words. I'm not sure that's what you mean by that. So maybe just show you what I mean by, like, if the tags are here. This is the admin page, and then with a keyword and tags and a bunch of words. So I'm not sure that's what you mean by that.
That's kind of like I kind of suggested a couple things in a row, and that's kind of like combining two of them. So you could get that to work. But if you were you originally using the action that's called search grid list?
Search grid
Or were you
list?
always filtering a collection for the search?
I think filtering collection for the search.
Oh, I see. So I assumed actually at first that you're using this other action. There's a specific action that if you have a grid, no matter what data is in the grid, you can use this grid search action and it'll do all the like advanced stuff as far as the queries and filtering. It does it all for you. So it just takes an input keyword and a field you want to search against, and it'll search that grid like in real time if you wanted to. So if you use that and you use that tags field, that's probably the best way to set up the tags. And we can do that right now if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
This filter thing that I was talking about would be like if that grid search action didn't work for any reason, or you needed something more specific or more advanced, you can build in more advanced using that filters, but you would have to do a little bit of treatment to that tags value before it works.
So
maybe yeah, I would say go to your search flow. So whatever you have a flow somewhere that's gonna
Yes.
And so
here.
Oh, I see. That's opening the search page.
And I have a search term by keyword, and then I added. Is this what you were talking about?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I added this action too, where it targets the tags as well. I'm not sure that's how you do it, because this first action here was from the Google clone tutorial where it searches for the keyword, and then I just added another one that searches for things in the field. So
okay, so it won't work with two because it'll be like it'll search one thing and it'll search another thing. So
it overrides.
Yeah, it'll like override it. And what it does is it'll either this will either search on one field in your data collection, or it'll search all fields in your data collection. So you can, if you leave it blank, it searches all fields. If you put a field in, it searches that field. So if you wanted to search multiple different fields, you actually kind of have to combine them first. And there's like a couple ways you could do that. But the way I would do it is like how you have that tags field. If you always search in the tags field, then if you want to put anything else to search against, you just add it to the tags field basically. And we can, that's how you solve case insensitive too. So we can actually talk more detail about that in a second.
So I don't need a keyword then if I have tags?
Yeah, but you have to make sure that it's what you want. So if you want them to search by anything in the description, the title, or the tags.
Mhm.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, so then actually what you want to do is just leave that search key blank. So remove the select a field tags and remove select a collection term. Just have it blank, and that way it'll search across all fields.
Okay.
That's really what
so-
you want. So if the term's in the tags, the description, or the title, and this search action will handle like the spaces and stuff for you, that kind of thing.
Okay, all fields. So I can delete the first
Delete that
one.
one, yep. And
Is-
then
Sorry, Drew, was the setup right for her opening a page? Or can that be simplified, or like, you know how she
I'm
was
not
like,
sure what the opening a page part was. I think that
Yeah.
comes from the tutorial, right?
Yeah, that's from the tutorial. I think it just shows the query plus the search, the input term.
URL.
Yeah.
gotcha.
It's kind of interesting because that tutorial is about like opening a page into the search results as opposed to just like transforming a grid on the page.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
I see.
it's like usually in my experience, actually, you don't even do this step. You just will have the
Mhm.
grid on that page and just run the search directly on it.
Yeah, the only reason for this step you're doing here with opening is if you would want people to be able to like link to a search. This basically like creates a unique URL for every search. So it's like if that's part of your app, you can do something like this and it'll be helpful. But if it's not part of your app, you don't actually need to do anything with the opening, and that eliminates the %20 stuff. Like
Oh, okay.
all that.
Can we do that? How do I just delete it? Or-
so I don't know what's triggering that flow that's just called search, the one we're looking at. Do you know what triggers it? Because basically you just don't need to ever trigger it. That's what we're gonna do first. So I don't know
I think
if
it's
called search.
enter. Let me see.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So let's remove that.
Where is it? I don't know where it went, but maybe just Yeah.
Go back to your elements, because you can see if there's something that has an action running on it, right?
Looks like the image has an action on
The
it.
image?
Right. I don't know if it's a
image
link
is
to
going back to the home page.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
So you probably need to set it up click in that, and then maybe on the key up, is that?
Yeah. Oh, like right here. Yeah.
Yep.
Enter
Yeah.
search.
Oh, there's search right
Yeah.
there. So yeah, so you don't want search there. You want the one that's called search by keyword,
Oh,
because we'll just do that grid, and just do that grid search. And so right now, what that'll do is it'll search only when you press enter.
mhm.
If you want, because this is like not refreshing the page, we're just like changing that grid. If you want, you can actually do that on the general key up, which means as they type each letter, it filters that search.
Okay.
So usually people prefer that, but you don't have to.
I like it. So
So in that case, you can keep that actually there if you want. Or I guess actually let's key up. Where's the key up?
I think it's up. I think there's key down.
Because that key code is on key down, right? And then key
Yeah.
press. Well, what's right below that
It
bottom?
looks
one?
hit key up's not there right now.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
maybe I
okay.
need new event.
Yeah.
right?
There's also sometimes with key codes or certain things, if you've chosen a specific key up, I believe, it kind of overrides and doesn't let you use the normal key up right now. And
We can
so-
try it like this, because this
This is
one's like a key down and a general key up, but yeah, you could get something weird and conflicting there.
Okay. Is this correct to
Yeah.
use? And then give it a nine. It's not this page, but I gotta go to that page. So, oh,
So that's
Interesting.
filtering as you type, yeah. And
oh, that is so cool. Yes, thank you.
Yay, and it's not case sensitive.
Mm,
oh yeah, is it already not case sensitive? That's perfect. then.
oh,
I
oh
would
yeah,
say- I don't think it's currently case sensitive.
Okay, I had no
Yeah.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think you would need to set that if you wanted it to be. Okay, so is this what you needed, Anne? Ended up a lot simpler than you thought.
right.
That's kind of rare.
And yeah, I got rid of the third problem I have, but then the second problem is having two words.
Yep.
search.
So right now, wait, I didn't find that exact phrase. That's weird.
Nope.
I'm not sure why I did that, but Yeah, I was gonna say right now you'd have to check what happens, and then to handle the multiple words, we'll probably have to do something a little custom depending on what exactly you want. But I'm kind of confused why that you did an exact 2 words of an exact title and didn't show up. That's kind of weird.
I might be like adding a lot of different stuff to.
Are you definitely doing a search of the whole collection and not by tags? Did
I think we
change
just
that?
switched it, but yeah, we could double check that. If you check that-
Search
Yep.
by
Search.
keyword, that's everything, right? There's.
Yeah, you did that. It could be something in that replace causing it, because I would think it would.
You can remove that replace, but that shouldn't affect it. Like there shouldn't be a %20. %20 just means space. The search must not do doing exactly what we're thinking. But I think we can probably modify it. It's just like it kind of threw me off that it didn't find it when it's exact. I'm like, how can we modify
So
this?
is it because I added stuff here maybe, or that's nothing to do with?
That shouldn't matter. Because that's basically just how the grid is originally set. So we saw that one title in there that you were searching for, so we know it was set in there and it should have found it.
Should we open up the that action to look at the arguments? Is that what you're wanting to do, Drew? Is maybe add something?
I mean, we could maybe look at like the JavaScript of the action. That would be an option. I was trying to think if there's something we can do before we get to that deep of a level. Alex asked if you're refreshing that window to test it.
It's worth doing.
Yeah,
I
just give it
also
a
might
quick
consider
refresh to make sure.
rebuilding it, because I think it's something small.
I don't understand. Like, is that a bug? Like, that should find that, right? Is it me? Am I kind of like missing something right now?
Scott, where did you see she has 20% in the action as a path? I think we removed that, didn't we?
Yeah, oh, here.
Well, we're
but
not
this
using
one
that
shouldn't matter,
search
yeah.
anymore. So
So,
yeah, it will be there. It'll be there.
that, let's see. Did I
And we're
add
sure that search
anything
isn't
else?
calling elsewhere.
I think so. I mean, we looked at the events. I didn't see it elsewhere, but
I don't think it's a data issue.
Yeah, because the data is there and it's being displayed. Okay, so let me see. Is Dorian in the call? I don't think so. Not yet. Okay.
I'm gonna
Okay,
pull
let's
that up
do-
real quick on my screen and like in the
Okay.
JavaScript and see if anything stands out while we're talking.
And is this the project that I'm in as well?
Oh, no, it's a different project.
Gotcha. If you want to share it with me, I can take a look while we're here too and see if I can.
Okay.
Is that data all in one data collection that you're searching in?
Yes.
So maybe you could set the search key to the data collection and then just have it return all fields or whatever and not set any kind of like.
That should be what it's already set to right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Like when
You
you
know
leave it
what?
blank, that's what it defaults to.
So actually, I think there's a good chance what was just happening. I don't know what are all in those tags fields, but I think because we didn't deselect that select a field, I think it was a ghost requirement of only searching that field
Oh, okay. Yeah.
collection, which is a bug that we need to fix, so that we need to make sure that's not keying. But
That's
'cause
smart.
I've seen that issue in other spots. Can we check the search again? I bet that just fixed it.
So change that. See that search key field that's on the thing? Change that from fields on the input. Yeah, change that to like text and just leave it blank. That way we know we clear it out and then give it a test on the preview. Nice. There you go, Josh. There you go.
Wow. Good eye, Josh.
Oh,
Cool.
nice.
Okay, so the issue was not ands. The issue is that sometimes if you have a data collection selected and you clear it out. it
It's
doesn't
really,
fully
it's
clear.
actually, the issue is actually buried in whenever there's a the form field that we use whenever you first select a data collection and then you select an item out of it. If you don't remove the field from the bottom one, but you remove the form, visually, it doesn't look like you're now filtering by that data collection, but we're not removing the key against that.
Gotcha.
That I noticed that on the grid list when I was trying to sort by a grid list, I removed the field it was sorting against, but it kept sorting against it. So
Okay.
it's somewhere buried in, we're not removing the key unless that actual secondary thing is removed.
Okay.
It's
so
like you
that's
select a
good to
collection
know.
and a field, so you have to remove field first, then remove collection.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All
It
right.
is it is a
So,
bug that we need to fix.
okay. So until we resolve that, if you guys are kind of undoing a mapping, make sure to go clear out that child field that you've selected. Okay. All
So
right.
can I clarify my understanding real quick? So right now I still have two fields like keywords and tags. If it's searching by all of them at once, then I
Yeah.
don't really need two, right? I can just
Right.
use them.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yep.
okay. And
Actually-
sorry.
I was like, you might not need any of them, but if you're wanting like things that don't show up, but that are searchable for it, then
Oh,
those
okay.
two is the right way.
Thank you. And one small question is I went back to the tutorial to see where this is, how it's loading, like how many results. Like right now it's like wrong, right? And if I want to fix that, I was like having trouble going back to the video and see where exactly I did this because it's not connected to anything.
I
But
bet it's on
It's,
page load because this was
Oh.
based around a pages loading. That's probably why you can't find it.
page
Page
load.
load or page
Oh,
miner.
there you go. So
Yeah.
so why is it showing the wrong thing?
What it's doing is it's looking in the data. It's like what I can see right there. It's looking in the grid list at the data dot length,
Yep.
Mhm.
and it's setting at one time in the beginning of your page load. But the data of a grid list is everything that's in the grid list. So if you search a grid list and you're only seeing one result, but there's 10 results in that list,
Yeah.
the data has 10 results.
You can
The
fix this.
value. Oh, sorry, what?
I was saying you could fix it just by copying this, putting into the search term by keyword and put a wait before it runs in that flow.
Yeah, you'll need to modify a little bit too, because you can't get if you get the data length, it'll always say the same anyway. But like the gist of it, like that he just got at was that you can't actually do it on page load anyway. You have to put this element set value after each time you search, and then you have to just basically count how many results are visible. That's how it's doing it. So we can move that right now if you want.
Okay. It's gonna
Can
be
you
quick.
can you click that next one and just let me see what that number 3 is too? I just want to see. Oh, that just sets the search term from the URL if it was there. So you technically don't need that. You don't have to delete that now if you don't want, but I don't think you're gonna have search terms in your URL, so that won't do anything.
Okay.
So number 2 though, you can leave it here if you want to show the count in the beginning of the page load. You can leave this and just copy it with the 3 dot on the action, the 3 dot menu. Or if you want to delete it, you can copy it and then delete it.
Okay. And I paste it to the search or
Search
I
by
would go to the flow called search term by keyword and paste it
Mhm.
into that flow. So you can just, there's a
Yes.
paste, yeah. And then just make sure you put a wait in between, because you want to search the grid in action 1, wait for it to be done, then set that value. And then now in this action, see where it says data is selected as data, change that to search result data. And that'll give you the exact amount, the exact search results that are visible. And then that little path under their length
Mhm.
is basically saying count them, the
Mhm.
length of items in that
Mhm.
search.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks so much. This I think solves the issue. I
There's
think.
another interesting thing to bring up that I didn't know about until just like a couple months ago that I think is potentially relevant. If you click on the grid list actually really quickly, this is more so just for people on the call. Go to events on the grid list. There's actually an after search event on the grid list. And so the grid list itself is able to listen to if it's just been searched. And so another way to do it is you could actually, like, especially if you were populating searches into a grid list from maybe multiple types of flows for whatever reason, you could always trigger after that search event a lookup to see, like, to count like the length and then update the number from that length. Or like for me, a lot of apps, maybe if the length is 0, you want to display like, hey, there's no search results on the page. That's a hidden div that isn't there if there is search results. And so you can just create a really simple way to basically listen when the search event happens to do some sort of logic after it.
Oh, interesting. So what the action we just created, like do it after the search.
You would need to create a new flow for it to do it this way. You don't actually have to do this also, just to be
Right.
clear. This is just like a different way to do it than what we did. But you would create a new flow that just has the action that sets the count. And you would call it like set count or whatever. And then after search, you'd run set count in there.
Okay.
Your
And-
setup is super simple where it's not an issue, but it's more like advanced use cases of it.
Yeah, it's a great point. And there's also a scroll to end if you see it too. So if you're scrolling on the grid list and you get to the end, you can trigger a flow. So those are definitely two useful flows that are kind of hidden. You probably never even notice them there.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I think that's all my question. Thank you once again.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Anne, for that, and Josh and Drew for figuring that out. Okay, so let's see. Let's pull up Scott. Hey, Dorian. Hi. Oh, we missed
What's
you,
up?
man. What's up? Okay, so we do have a few other things to kind of demo. Today's kind of like a demo day. People want to see demos of stuff and how-tos. But what I would like to do is let's Scott, are you in the call?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys want to do another round of optimization, just kind of looking at kind of what you change and seeing if there's anything else to do. Let's go down that road, but I would like to cap it at 10 minutes so that we can continue on and doing some demos. So I'll, if we can see what we can do in that time frame. So whenever you're ready, come on up.
Yeah, sure. So let me share the screen here.
And so last time, I think the recommendations were what I can't even remember. One of them was
Filtering, the data
filtering,
collections.
adjusting
Yeah,
the
'cause
filtering.
Yeah.
Yes. Dorian, you remember? Were you all able to do that one, Scott?
Yeah, so we filtered all of our requests and it dropped our payloads down by about half,
Yes,
which is
that was
really
fun.
good. And as you know, we're a very data heavy site, so we're doing a lot of actions and things like that. So right now our load times are fairly quick, as you can see from the refresh here. We did had something I just kind of wanted to pass along. We had some strangeness around setting data using the data tab, where the page was extremely slow when we were doing that. But if we set it through an element action, it's extremely fast. This project author block, for example, was taking 20 seconds to load in, which we have no idea why. We set the data through actions and it immediately pops. And so we're not quite sure what might be causing that, but we wanted to kind of share that with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me make a note of that. Y'all can continue.
Yeah, so the concerns that we have now are more along the lines of some of the stuff we're seeing in Lighthouse. One of the things I brought up yesterday is that we're seeing a third-party Bing ads being loaded through Builder, which we're not quite understanding how that's happening, but we're seeing this actually impacting significant in other areas as well, where we're seeing load times that are being added to the page because of that. So I wasn't sure if you guys had any updates or any thoughts on that.
That's weird. That's from Azure Insights, like it's hosted on Azure. So it's kind of like it has to do with the hosting specifically. Like it's not actually for Bing ads, I don't think, but that's really weird. And it's weird that it's slowing it down.
Yeah, and we're seeing execution sometimes over a second in time on that, which is really strange. The other thing that we're seeing that's really strange is that even on pages that don't have Lotties, we're seeing this Lottie player populate with CPU time of over a second.
That is it. That looks like it's coming from a page header because it says unpackage, unpkg.
Yeah, we actually checked. We have no page headers that have Lottie player in it. This is actually the Builder Lottie player, we think. But I wanted to ask Dorian about
Builder
that.
library may be adding it. You're right. Maybe adding it. That's what it's coming from. Like something's adding the Lottie library, and I bet you it shouldn't be on every page. We can try.
Yeah.
To find it. I don't know.
We'll need to look at the head of the page that was inspected there.
Sure.
Oh, I meant
Um,
in the actual preview, like in
Oh.
execution.
in execution. Okay, so
Yeah,
walk me through
just
what you
the-
like me to do.
Yeah, open the dev tools and then go to elements at the top left. You can collapse the body on the right side. You see the little triangle, just so
On
the-
the
right a little bit
Like that
down.
You're selected on called body.
Right there, yeah,
Okay.
and expand the one that says head. Now
Sure.
just look at that. Okay, so first ones are the core files, nothing there. Scroll down a bit.
You would be able to control F for Lottie. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should be able to if you click in there and then
mm,
Maybe
not seeing where the-
unpackage.
yeah, no, it took us somewhere else.
it's something in here, I guess.
What's doing it in here?
It
Scroll
says
up
there's
a
4
bit.
results there.
It's for that function.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a header. There's something loading it.
So this is the first, I guess, instance of it. Oh, this is the last instance of it. Sorry. The first instance says it's something in here.
Did you ever have a Lottie on there and maybe you deleted like the parent div instead of the actual Lottie element?
Could be. I mean, we've been on this for more than a year now. You know,
'Cause
developing
there's-
and redeveloping.
Yeah, there's some element in there that is a Lottie, and that's why it's loading that function, which I bet if we grab that function ID,
Mhm.
go search the functions in the studio, it would probably be the Lottie function. Or-
Okay. How would I? What would you like me to do? Sorry.
Well, you'll need to find where that's coming from.
Can we just go into the studio to the page and go look at the deleted elements, Dorian?
Yeah, that'd be one way to start and see if it comes up. I think the issue would be if it's nested. I think it doesn't show you the nested things unless you undelete the parent, right?
I'm
Oh,
not
it's
sure what's
builder's
called.
lagging out. Hang on.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah,
having a
Sorry,
lot of
that's
this
going
recently.
away.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's when it's getting the
I
elements.
forgot about it because I'm in dev all the time now. It's such a luxury.
Yeah.
to not know that.
So we, part of the release is gonna include optimization for the loading of elements and
and
flows and actions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is solved as part of that.
Just give it a second.
There it
There it
goes.
is.
Okay.
There.
So there's this.
There it
Oh, yeah.
is.
So because this is deleted, it's still loading it on the page.
I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure.
It shouldn't.
It
Yeah, I mean, like if it
shouldn't.
did, it would be a bug. But
Yeah. Like
Well,
I
it
know
sounds like it's a
the-
bug.
if you load
It's a problem.
that preview we were looking at is the preview, which is the development environment.
Mhm.
Does that Lottie also exist on your published environments?
I believe so.
Like, can we go to one of your domains and
Oh,
validate?
yeah. Go to laser.gg.
Or
And
you
on
can-
any project that
Yeah, pull it up there and we can see it.
should probably not be in tablet mode. There we go.
So we're all getting wallets.
I have my own leather wallet that I made myself.
You
Nice.
did too? Wow.
You should
That's-
submit the design in here, man.
I used to sell it. I used to have a company that sold them.
Another one of your hidden talents. You're
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's there. It's definitely there. Yeah,
Okay,
'cause
so-
deleted elements don't come over. Let's go back to the studio. I wonder if like there's like the only thing I can think of, it's like if the parent element was deleted, because then
But
the
here's
child
the
is
interesting thing is
technically still active.
I think it's even on this page. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, it's still on this page, and this page, oh, I guess this page does have a lot, yeah, so never mind. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
like,
sorry, what did you want me to do?
Just as a quick test, maybe create a new blank page and let's just throw it onto a route, like in the development one, and let's just see if it shows up in there.
But something to add to that as well is we found in a couple of things like the
Oh, yeah,
upload
it's not live yet.
that we use was using that same unpackage source. And
Mhm.
so when we swapped it out to we asked the dev team from Upload Care, and they said, no, here's a different source you can use. And we used that source, and it completely changed the behavior of the load times and everything for all the images as well.
Matt, what's that? Yeah, thanks. I need that link.
Okay. Hold on, John, because I want to hear or explore that, but let's
Sorry,
check
we
this out
actually-
first, because I'm making notes because if there's stuff that we need to go look at for sure.
So we did this as part of assessing for the vet
Mhm.
being ads thing.
Nice.
If you search for Lottie, there is some Lottie stuff on its blank page. But there isn't that script that we've been looking for. The unpackaged script.
Yeah. Where does it say the Lottie stuff?
No, Brennan, Brennan's asking after you delete the Lottie element, do you need to go into the element types and action types? No, because what you're doing is you're just deleting the instance of the Lottie that you've added to the page. That being
here it is.
in the actual elements, I think is fine. That's just a list of what you can use in the project.
Yeah, and maybe
Yeah,
I'm
I think what's
Yeah.
happening is
Oh, here it is.
yeah, that's the function for it for sure, and that's why
Yeah.
it's doing that. Yeah, I think what the issue is that when it's rendering the head for any root page, it
Mhm.
looks like it's bringing the functions for the project instead of just the functions needed for that specific page.
Mm.
So one thing you could do is kind of what Brennan suggested is if you actually go and delete that function in the element type, if you're not, oh, I guess you use it for other.
Yeah, it's used other
so you
places.
can- Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have to go look at that because that shouldn't be working like that.
Yeah,
Right.
all of our
Yeah.
modals have a oops. All of our modals have a Lottie in the top right to kind of give them a
Okay.
little movement. It's just right here, and it'll
Is that like included? Are those modals included hidden by default on every page or anything like that? Like, is there?
interesting.
Yeah, so that means it needs it in that header.
If it's on every page.
Yeah, which I assume the modals are probably on most.
Well,
but it
the
wasn't
modals
in
are going to be on the project
content.
pages and the submission pages, but they won't be on, say, the homepage, for example.
Right.
Or
that link one, that test one we were looking at, there's like
yeah,
only a text box on there.
yeah. This page is just only has a text box. There's nothing else.
I don't
Yeah.
know if
Yeah.
this is coming from this conversation you and I were having yesterday, Scott.
Yeah.
But if it helps you, Dorian, or however we debug this, they also, there's also like interesting things like whenever they create any new page in the studio, it has like the listener and the auth key on the page instantaneously for every single page that they add. And so I don't know if that would matter, but I could see some scenario where like the page is somehow taking some sort of project-wide attributes and applying them to pages.
No, I don't think so. So like those icons are lit up.
Sorry, which ones?
Like when you add a new page, the icons for the,
In the
so I think
studio,
those are just links to get to the settings, right? It doesn't necessarily mean they're on.
correct, but it's just interesting that it shows up on like every single page that comes up in the studio, and
Can you show me? Like, where is that? Or where are you guys seeing that?
very, very top of the page, just by project page.
I think
Scott,
that's just to get to the settings.
right, but if normal new pages don't have those there unless they're active. on like a new page that gets created doesn't have that there.
I see. Do this, go to the properties,
Okay. Under,
on this page here on the right side.
okay.
See the properties tab.
Sorry, I'm not seeing it.
It's the
Right
tab
there.
next to
Further
styles.
down.
And data. You got to open a second ago.
Yeah, where you
Oh,
were.
this one right here. Okay. Well, property, sorry. Okay, yes.
It's like, we don't usually call it
Yeah.
properties. It sounds weird to say that.
And then open the JSON down at the bottom so you can
Okay.
see the actual. And let's see, scroll down for me. Keep going right. Now those are variables. Page headers. I wonder if maybe just to check, because see the array is empty, so there's nothing in there.
I don't know if it's
like-
right, Dorian, but just maybe you could save us the time. Is it possible just because the project was created a long time ago, we used to show those, and then newer projects, we don't show them unless we have them there? It's just
It
an older
could be.
project.
I think it's from the default blank page that gets created.
Yeah.
But just to see it on this one, can you triple click on line 164 to highlight the whole line? On the actual editor, not the, there you go. Yeah, and just remove that and remove the comma before it. And then click save.
Okay.
And then click away, like click somewhere else on the canvas to deselect the page and then reselect the page.
Just to point out, there's no notification that it actually saved.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that-
just-
that's
yeah.
normal.
yeah, all that
just-
will get done. And then click on that page again.
Mhm.
No, it's still there. I was just wondering, like maybe the check.
We
yeah.
played around with data listeners early on, but they were a little slow for what we were trying to do at the time. And so, I mean, this was November of, 2 years ago.
Yeah, but that
So-
I won't do anything whether it's there or not. The settings are fine. It's probably just like what Drew's saying, something in these older projects.
Yeah, like I have some old projects, like every time you drop a new page, it like turns all the other pages white. And it's like this weird thing, but it doesn't actually affect anything else. And if you refresh the studio, everything's fine. It's like just because the project's old. So I do think there's a chance it's just something like that.
We're
Okay.
having that problem. We have to go in and add a console log to the flows in order to make the page run again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're having a problem like with pages when we make changes that it'll just stop. It'll be a white screen until we go and add a console log.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's really
that we
weird.
would
I
need to
don't-
repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've shown that to you guys a couple times.
Okay.
But yeah,
Wait,
Yeah,
it's on
that-
every page or only when there's an error, you have to add the console log?
no, it's on most pages. Like when
Oh, I
we're
didn't-
making some
didn't
changes to data, like the data tabs, things like that, we'll have to go in and add a console log to refresh the flows for some reason, and then the page will start working again. It'll like white screen for however long until we go do that
In the studio or in the preview?
in the preview.
Oh, so just loading it.
Yeah. I think that was a bug you guys said you were fixing in the newest release. At least that was what we heard a while back.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
we'd
don't
have to see
recall
that.
of anything like that, so
Yeah.
it needs to be specific if, okay.
Yeah.
Next time we run into it, we'll get you guys on. And,
One thing at a time.
just
So
record
as far as the resonance data listeners, those icons appearing, that's a non-issue.
Yeah, that won't affect anything.
There is
That's
an
just
issue we're
the
seeing
display.
right now where the Lottie file is appearing on pages. It's bringing the function in when it shouldn't. And that's something that I will write up for us to resolve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and
Um,
then you have this other issue where when you make a change to the data in the preview, the page goes blank.
Yeah, so
I would
we'll-
like information on that so that I can write that up.
Yeah, so next time we run into that, I'll
Thank you.
grab you and then we can do a quick run through.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then
Record it happening. That's the biggest thing. We just seeing like what triggers it is the most important thing.
well, so it'll happen randomly when we're changing stuff on the page. So like let's say we change the source of data from like the data tab to an action, and we turn off the data tab, the data in the tab, the page will stop functioning until we add that console log. What will happen next time we do that and we run into it, I'll just send you guys the page. You can take a look at it before we add the console log, and you can
Are
see
you
what the error is.
refreshing the page, Scott, after you make that change? Are you refreshing it in preview
Yes.
and it doesn't load?
It's not in Studio. It's actually on the browser. So in like this page would just be white and nothing would load, and it would just stay broken until we add the console log, and then the page would just start randomly working again.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
that page getting any errors? Like if you have developer tools open
Matt or John, that's more of a
and you
question for you guys.
refresh, what do you see?
Not really. It just pulls up the page white, and then it has like the header, and then it has body with basically nothing inside of it. I don't remember seeing any
Okay.
errors in the console log, but
Okay. Yeah, information on that would be great. As far as triage goes, if it's just something that happens in the preview and there's an easy workaround, it's probably not going to get resolved as fast as something that you have no way of working around, right? But either way, I want that so that I can write it up and we can have it in our bugs, because it's good to knock out some of those other things once we get through the high priority bugs. So that would definitely be good to know for me anyway.
Yeah.
And then I'll write up the Lottie files thing, and then we've got some more time. So what, is there some other weird thing we need to look at?
Well, no, I think this
All the
next one's a little
weirdness.
easier to ask. More of a matter of like what best practices. So
Mhm.
when we're sizing these images through our image CDN. So what we're doing right now is kind of specifying a width for the images and letting the height be done automatically. And so, oops, it's the wrong thing. What size should we be putting these images at? Should we be doing it at the image? There you go, image address. Should we be doing this at the size it's rendering on that page on home here? Or should we be doing it double size for Apple Retina displays?
Yeah, I'd say at least double size usually, but it really depends on all the trade-offs, you know? So if you do a double size and it creates an enormous image, it might not be worth it. But what happens is if you don't do a double size these days, Retina screens, which includes like phones and iPads and tablets, it'll look blurry on all those. So you basically have to do everything. You should do it 4 times, really. That's actually what the Retina is usually. And like my screen here is like 5K, that might even be more. But I do everything basically double size usually. That's kind of my rule of thumb.
So if you go, I think on live it's only at single size right now. But Drew, just curious, like if you look at this, does this look like super blurry?
Let me check on my actual screen. It probably won't look super blurry. Just like it's usually just like a little blurry. It's not like crazy usually. Actually, it looks pretty good on my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks totally fine. I mean, if I were building this, like if that's just 1x size, and I were building this, I'd leave it for sure because that looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, looks
Yeah.
good on Retina.
I agree on my phones.
You checked on the phone, Josh?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay.
Okay. And then the last, I think, question I have right now is best rule of thumb for when you're dealing with so the way that we have our artists adding information to the page is and this set process has been optimized, so it's super slow right now. Is that we're loading up modals. In these modals, should we be loading the data from the parent page using the variables on the parent page? Like, what's the best way to load these, like, with the least impact on the system?
Yeah, I would say if you already have the data, use it. Don't request it again. Eliminate all those requests.
Okay. And so that would just be us in here saying, okay, this grid list should be populated with the data from the parent page.
Yeah, the parent, or depending on the context, you can target the specific page too.
Okay. Is there any gotchas or anything that we should be aware of when doing that? Anything we should think about?
I don't think so, because the data will be a 1-to-1, right? It's the same thing, right?
Okay.
Drew, can you think of anything?
No, and actually, I would have thought they wouldn't add load time either way, even if you make a network request, because we probably have it cached if you get it on the parent. So I don't know. I was gonna
they
ask
get,
if you need the data. That was my first question, because you're saying, should you bring it in? I'm like, I don't know. Do you need it? If you need it, you have to bring it in one way or the other. So
Right. So the data is already loaded. So for example, this is already loaded. If this page is, they've already uploaded these images to the page. So if they're going to go in and say modify the order of these images,
mhm.
you know, so they want that one to be the first image instead. You know, this is already there. I'm just trying to make sure, like, for the stuff that exists, you know, what's the kind of best rule of thumb, you know, best practices for that.
Cool.
Yeah, I
So it
think
sounds
what
like
Dorian said is
Dorian
correct.
says-
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was saying, it sounds like Dorian just said, if it's already there, no need to
Yeah.
request it again.
That sounds good.
Did you
John
have
and-
something to add to that, Drew?
No, I was basically just gonna sum that up. Say, like, if you already have it, use it from the parent and you're sure that it's not gonna make a request. But really, Builder's supposed to handle that for you too. Like, Builder shouldn't make that second request if you already have it. Builder would just get it from the cache and it'll be equally as fast. So like when I build, I'll actually have multiple network requests that are the same, and I just don't care because I know, and I check too to double check and make sure, but I know that Builder only makes a network request the first time and then pulls the rest from the cache. So
Okay. John, you were having problems with caching this week, weren't you? You had to turn off cache to make some things work.
Yeah, me and Matt both, and that was part of the optimization thing we were going through and just uncaching some of those data requests.
right,
And that
right.
seemed to make things work a little bit faster as well. I don't know. It's a lot of trial and error. Like the thing with the images, like loading it from a grid list traditionally through a grid card, through a data tab
Mhm.
was slower than loading, say, a variable and then setting that variable in the SRC for that image.
That's good to know. Like those.
Yeah, I wrote that
those-
down as a note. John, do you know around how many data records were in that you were testing? Because I want to replicate that. I want to try to replicate it.
It was just
Was
one
it like
record.
a whole bunch, or was it like even you could tell a difference on 10 records?
I think it's just one record, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
one
think
record.
images we pulled maximum of 20 records because we can have up to 10, but there's some deleted as well.
Right.
So actually that's the wrong one. That's project.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when
we
you're-
capped it
So
at
when
20.
you're setting the data to the page, it's filtered for one record, right?
For the grid list, we're filtering to 20, I believe, for images.
I see.
Yeah, because there could be 20 records in that grid list for images.
Gotcha.
But total records in the images right now is 13,000. So I don't know if that impacts things.
All right. Okay. We're gonna go take a look at that Lottie thing. I will write that up, and then I'm gonna go try and test through the data binding and see if we can see anything there.
Sure. And then the last thing, I'm
we-
sorry, just really quick,
Okay,
it's just a
we do
question
need to
about,
switch. Yep.
yeah, is just we had talked about the text compression being slow, causing lag on the page in the
Mhm.
last call. Have you guys had any thoughts about that? If that's gonna, I've noticed that it's gotten a little bit better. I don't know if that was just
The reason it got better is because you're optimizing.
Mm-hmm.
But that text compression, if what Dorian was saying before about the Lottie file, if it's bringing in like all of the element JavaScript and like more than it's supposed to, like somehow it's bringing that Lottie when it's not supposed to. If it's bringing more than it's supposed to, I bet that's what's causing this. Because these files are just like all the, like all the builder files. That's what it's saying. It needs to be compressed. We could compress them on our end, and we definitely will at some point. Like, we're doing a lot of optimizations to these kind of files, and at some point they're going to be compressed, but it's not something like you can do through the studio. It's like in the builder core. So I have no like update on when we would do that. But I think actually in your case, the problem isn't the compression, because like a lot of sites don't have text compression on that. Like it usually does not save 2 seconds. Like that tells me there's way too much text information coming through. So I actually kind of hope it's what Dorian said, that too much information. It's like a bug where a lot of extra JavaScript's coming through that shouldn't or something. And hopefully it'll solve that, because I don't think there's anything we can do on this side. Like we can't compress it for just your project or anything like that. Like that wouldn't work,
Yeah, I'm just worried because it is fairly large. It's 3.8 megs of text.
I honestly don't understand how it's that large. Like that's like a red flag to me. I feel like it might be a bug. Like that might be the same issue, because it should never be that large.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now I think it's pointing to a specific form, which is the JSON of the form, like the elements and all that. So you'd probably want to go look at that form and see what's in there.
Is that something you guys want to do offline? So I'm not holding up the rest of your call.
No, I was suggesting you guys go look at the form. Like in that URL, you see where it says static underscore FRM underscore, and then there's that GUID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ID of the form. So you would need to capture that and go look at the form.
And you can grab that. If you click on a page, you can, in the 3-dot menu, see what the ID is. That's what you're saying, Dorian? He needs to find that page.
Yeah, and just go look at all the elements on that page and see. When you run this, are you running this? Yeah, it looks like you're running it in the preview. So
Yeah.
one thing to note, in the preview, we keep all deleted things because you have the ability to undelete. So you'd want to run this on the live, because in the live, it's not going to bring deleted elements.
Right.
So I'd expect it to be a lot smaller.
Okay, guys, we
that's
have
my-
gone way over 10 minutes. I would love to keep going, but we got to switch so we can help some more people.
I understand. Before you go though, how do we find that form? Sorry. So that, because we won't be able to move forward without that knowledge.
I think you can just search, if you copy that and just go in the studio, go on the left and click on the workspaces and pages, and then just paste that in the search. But just the form GUID.
Oh, the form GUID. Okay, so
it starts with like the Q something.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Move
And
that,
then
and after it,
we read the question. Anything has the question mark?
no, even before that, there's that underscore. No.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
remove that underscore also. Or I found it.
Project page. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you know where to look. Okay, we're switching.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you. All right. Brennan, come on up. So Brennan is working on, what are you working on, Brennan? Was it the slider question? No, that was John's question. Brennan, you are trying to build a chat UI that starts the scroll from the bottom of the page, kind of like Discord does it. Do you want to show us what you've got? And then we can kind of, Drew, I think, were you the one who was trying to give him some recommendations for how to maybe do that?
I don't know if I did for this one.
Okay.
I may have in the past though.
Cool. Brennan, are you
Yes.
here? Okay, great. I think it's a little low on the volume. Okay, cool. We can see your project.
Can you hear me better now? I switched my mic.
Oh yeah, I can hear it's a little quiet, but I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you at all before. I thought you were muted.
Oh, okay. I'll just talk louder.
This is perfect. This is perfect.
Everybody lean in.
Okay, so yeah, I have just this message row, and it's setting into a grid list here. And I wanted to see if I go to the preview page, refresh. I have the messages here, and I just wanted to get it so that it starts from the bottom with the latest message, and then you have to scroll up the same way you do in Discord or a lot of other chat apps. I wasn't sure if this is something you can do in purely CSS or if there's some JavaScript magic that has to happen.
I would guess maybe some JavaScript. Is this the correct order of the messages, or do you need to switch the order of them? Do you know what I mean?
Right now, message 8 would be the latest message.
So correct.
I suppose it's in the correct order.
Yes, that's correct. So basically what you're trying to do is like default push that scroll to the bottom, because you're actually, you have all the CSS in general set up correctly. It looks like the content's incorrectly. We just need to force scroll. I think, do you know how to do that, Josh or Dorian? I definitely have done this. Like, I'm gonna try to look it up real quick. I know there's an easy way to do this, but I forget exactly how I did
Just
it.
to make sure he's trying when the page renders to auto scroll to the bottom, or
And after every message, you'd want to auto scroll to the bottom. Yeah.
Would it be page
gotcha.
load
He
for the
can
row?
use that flow you created, right? Scroll to an element. Because you can just put a condition. I'm assuming that's a grid row and it's a row. And on the row, you just check if this is the last row, scroll to it, you know?
And you would do it on page load, correct?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it would loop through each one, but
So you
it'd be
just-
quick JavaScript. Either that or the other method where you can not have it run through every row, like just target the specific one, is you can get the length of all the rows and then, or get the last one, I guess, or get the length, you'd have to get the last one. Well, I guess the index is automatic. You just have to deduct one. So get the length, deduct one, and then target the array underscore index of that value to just run that scroll to action.
Are you saying there's an action in here already to do the scroll?
The scroll, yeah, Drew created it.
I actually didn't even create this one. There's one I created that does like crazier stuff, but we haven't actually, yeah, scroll to element. It'll scroll the window to any element that you select and it'll like animate scroll it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't set that here. You would actually need to set that inside of the row of the grid. Because that's essentially the row that you're trying to scroll to.
Okay, so you're saying in this row here on this
Mhm.
page,
Yeah, so in here, I would create a new flow, just
Okay.
something like scroll to me or something like that, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
And then drop that, yeah, go ahead and add that scroll. And then just select like the outer div, yeah. Cool, and then now what we need to do is go back to the main list here.
Yeah.
And we're gonna need to create a new flow. Which is probably the same. Now scroll to latest message. And then in here, we'll do a set variable. It's down there under other, one more down right there, yeah. And then you can just set this to the current page.
okay,
And you can call it like index to scroll. The name doesn't matter, whatever you want to call it.
okay.
And then the value, we're going to get it from, change that instead of text, toggle that to from element. And we're going to select the grid. Yeah. And then change that to data. And then add a path for length. And then copy that variable name up above because we're going to need that. And then now we're going to add another action called run flow on page. I think it's what it's called. Yeah, down there under other. Yep. And put a weight between them. And then select the row page.
This,
And the action we're going to run is that new one. The variable name. It's going to be array underscore index. I think that's what it's called, right, Drew?
Underscore index, underscore first and then array.
And then array camel case. Gotcha. There you go.
Like that.
Yeah. And then the value, we're going to change that to a math formula. So scroll down to the bottom. We'll change, yeah, math. And then click in there and do like an open bracket.
not the curly bracket,
Not the
just-
squiggly, but yeah, there you go. And then click on variables. And then just paste that in there and then click save. Okay, and then we're just gonna do click back into that field up above where we're doing the math, just to put the cursor at the end, and then just do -1. And then I think that's it, right?
We'll see. I missed in the middle. I was like trying to look up how to do it in other ways. So I don't know.
Oh, but we need to set that flow actually, or it's never gonna run. So how do you set the data? Is it just binding on the grid when you initially set it? Yeah, it looks like it is. So go to flows, We will need to set it also after you create the record, but let's work on the initial page load one first. So go to page binding. And then in here, nest, click nest. And then add that scroll and put a weight between them. And then now we need to also nest that when you create a new one. So go back to, I think it's send message.
Okay.
And at the end here, just nest that also.
With the
You don't
weight.
need a weight because we just need a weight after, or, oh, is that setting it? Is that, there's no resonance on here?
This is to clear the value.
Let's
of
just
the
clear. Okay,
footer.
then we're good. Okay.
Okay, so that's it. Not quite scroll.
Didn't scroll.
Scroll
So
down,
let's
scrolls when I-
check.
You can see if it works when you add, yeah.
Okay, so it does that.
Oh, it scrolled to it, but it scrolled to the top. You know what I mean? And it didn't scroll to the bottom of the element. Because that worked, right? It just cut it off.
Because it's at the top. So we need to maybe add like an empty div at the bottom, you think? And target
Just
that
need some
instead.
padding at the bottom.
That'll work. Well, what he was suggesting is you add an empty div with no visual styling at all, and then scroll to the empty div instead of scrolling to the message.
Because I don't think there's padding settings on the flow, right? On that scroll.
I don't think so. I was gonna go check. Yeah, there should be, probably.
No, it wouldn't be here. It'd be on the row page.
add
Go
the-
back to that flow first and see, like in here in this page, go to flows.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there was any padding settings. No. So yeah, so we'll have to do it like that. So I would just add a div and do nothing with it and just put it at the bottom. And then let's select that on the flow.
Probably need to change this to column, right? So it's actually at the bottom. Right now it's on the side.
You
Oh.
don't actually have to put any. Are you saying for styles in that one?
No, for.
You can put it outside of it.
Oh, yeah.
Drag it to the page body.
Drop it on top of the word page body up there. Oh yeah, that works. Good job.
There you go. You got it. Yep. It's because it's flex column or row, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you'll go to flows, right?
Yeah,
Or I
go to the
guess-
flow and change the element to that div.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Should be good. Yep.
I think, let me try.
And I think we might need to use that
After search or something.
yeah, the after search flow to trigger it properly. Because I think it's firing too fast or something.
See if that worked with. Okay, and then would you say it was firing too quickly?
Yeah, and on page load, but I think before we do page load, let's add a new message and make sure that actually works, and then we can fix page load and we'll be done.
Yeah.
Because this first part we fix is just for here. It still scrolls at the top. That's weird.
Why is that? Oh no, it's because we don't need a deduct one. It is just because the new one. Go back and then go to the main page, not the row, but here. Go to the run flow and then just remove the mine. Technically, we just target the variable, but let's just try it like that and see.
Also, for everyone else who's thinking about scroll, Matthew and John chatted some CSS for
That CSS that you chatted gets added automatically when you use the scroll to element action.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that didn't scroll to the bottom at all.
No, I didn't like it, but I think maybe because we're not doing a formula now. Yeah, I'd have to see the variables to see what it's actually setting. Do this, go to the flow, and instead of doing nothing, just do like -0. Just in case it's expecting.
No.
No, didn't like that at all. And with -1, it did like it. No, but it should be -1 because we're running this after it gets set and the index starts at 0. So -1 was correct.
Do we want to try the custom code option right now?
Do this for me. Go to the row. So I've seen sometimes the order of elements get shown different. Can we just add like a height and like a background color or a border just so we can actually
Unless you can see
see
that
it?
div.
Yeah.
To the div here.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So I just want to confirm that it is at the bottom.
Hard to tell unless we see which the top and bottom. Yeah, that's
So,
good.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's this
that's good.
bottom. Okay, so let's add a new one and let's see. And it's almost like it's off by 1, right?
Yeah, it seems like it's
Yeah.
Why is it off by 1? Let's do this. Go to the grid. We're just gonna change things because maybe it's happening not in the right order. Go to the events on the grid. And on the change, yeah, click in there and do the, scroll to last message. And then let's go back to the send flow and remove it from being nested in there. Yeah. And then let's try it now.
I think what you said in the chat, Matt, might be right too. Maybe it's just not loaded fast enough and it's scrolling to the last one, the one that is loaded. Could be something like that for sure.
No, didn't even go to it. Why? It is changing, it is adding it. Why would it do that? Then maybe we move it to inside of the row so we know 100% it's rendered.
By the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe what's happening is the data is being set and it's running before the row is done rendering. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So remove it from there.
okay.
And then let's go in here
The row.
and we're going to create a new flow. And we can just call it like a condition is this last row or something like that.
I like this because you start seeing how you can get creative solutions for things.
And then let's
Way.
click that and search for condition. And then it's that first one, compare values. Yep. And the first one, we're going to change that from text to come from a variable. And it's the underscore array index. Yep. And then the value 2, we're actually going to change that to come from an element, but we're going to change it from current page to the parent page. which is the dashboard, I think. And then in there, select the grid. Yep. And then same thing, data, and then length. Oh, but you know what? We need to set that in a variable because we need to deduct one because array index starts at 0. So before this, we need to do another set variable action.
Okay.
Yeah, you can ignore that because that's going to change. And then drag that above, put a weight between them. Put that on current page. And then let's give this a name. You can just call it grid count or something like that. And then the value, change it to element, and we're going to get it from the parent page, which is dashboard. So instead of current, go to dashboard, select the grid. And then data, and then click in there and type length. And if you press down, it should select or click on it either way, it's fine. Okay. And then here, change this to be, we need to do math. So change it from an element to be a math. Yep. And then let's open brackets and then click on variables. And then let's type grid count. I think it's what we called the variable. And then click save. And then again, -1.
Does that have a D in it?
It does.
Okay.
And then -1.
Okay.
And then the flow we're going to run, if that's true, is the scroll to message. Okay. And then go to the page load on the left side. And then let's nest that in here. Yep. And let's go refresh and try it. Nah, none of that matters. Yeah.
There it is.
You can already see that method worked better for the page load already.
Yeah,
There you
that
go.
worked.
Done.
Awesome.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So
Woohoo!
some of the
Need to do
earlier
a
flows we set
tutorial
up,
on
can
that.
we clean those up, like the scroll to message?
Yeah, you can probably, I forget now, but there's definitely some stuff you can delete out of here.
Okay, I'll go through it and try to clean it up myself. But thank you so much. That was really cool.
All right, Brennan, thanks for jumping on and letting us help with that. We are over time, but I did tell Dominic that we would go through his questions. So come on, Dominic. Let us know what you got. And then after this, we will end the call and go look at some of the stuff that we've written up from it. So Dominic, what you got?
Hey, 1, 2. Okay, you can hear me. Let me just share my screen. Share my entire screen. Okay, I did ask the question in the chat, in the Discord. So obviously some of you, the team have seen this. What I figured out how to send it to direct mail, but also what I want to do is show a preview if they wanted to do a social share. So I set up an automation on Banner Bear to be able to do that. And
Nice.
so just tell it to wait for new data. So I have my test. So when I test, I always test in like a new kind of project. So I have my test here. If we just open that. So if I just say hello world.
Can you open the network that we can see the API response? I'm assuming the issue is setting the value into the image element.
Yeah, so we can
Probably just need to parse into it.
Yeah, it's just the parsing really.
I see, and I think it just needs a path. I saw really quick image underscore URL.
So it is, so what it's actually sending is,
Yeah, image underscore URL.
yeah, so it's just a URL. So I need to grab this right here.
Yeah, so copy image underscore URL, or we can just type it and show me the set value on that image element.
So I'll run it again. And also, if anyone can think of a better way to do this, please let me know.
To what,
So
make
this
these
is what-
images?
Sorry?
To make these images, you mean? Or in general?
Yeah. The challenge I found with the images is good for like not virality, but it's good for like user acquisition. But
yeah,
it is
Mhm.
it's expensive to produce with Banner Bear or any other alternative.
There's not a good alternative to Banner Bear that I found, except that you can actually build everything in Banner Bear. You can build yourself in Builder now, but we don't have anything like pre-built for it. But I want to make that in Builder so we can just all do it for free. Because Banner Bear is like
Yeah.
$50 a month minimum.
Yeah, and they put a cap on how many can be generated too.
Yeah.
But this is the response that's coming back, and you can see the images like this because I think I tried to set it just like that. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Is that
If you go to wherever you set it, we can tell you exactly what to type. It should be a pretty easy one, actually.
so set success? I have set value. I think this is.
Yep.
This is the image.
Yeah.
And that's what I
so-
put.
Yeah, remove the, click that and then delete that. And the only path you need is just image underscore URL,
The actual name from the response. Yeah.
the property name.
I think it was all lowercase.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Press enter and then let's try it now.
And this is a random question. It's not a big deal, but is there a way to get a loading bar here? Would I just have to grab some JavaScript somewhere else? Okay, perfect. So this is it. This is our image. This is
Yeah,
what we
our
wanted.
lotties work really good for those.
For loading.
Mhm.
Yeah, you just have to do it yourself, basically. Trigger something to show it. If it animates, it's kind of like fake. Like you wouldn't be able to like actually tell when things are loading, probably. So you just kind of animate it and then hide it when it's done.
Oh, okay. So it's just, hey, show this. It's animating, and then when the data is ready, hide it again.
Yeah, I mean, you could like if you really want to go deep on a project, you could like figure out the bytes that are passing into a real percentage, but that's like not. Like, I wouldn't even venture into there. That would be really deep.
Yeah.
Okay, no, this is the answer to my question. If you have 2 minutes or 1 minute, what I also did, and let me say this, what I also did for the payment, so I have 2 things here. For the payment, I have the person pays with Stripe, and it basically sends them a code for like a checkout code. So when they pay with Stripe, it picks it up here, it adds the data to the Airtable, just where I'm storing it, and then it sends them an email with a checkout code. And then they go to the Builder checkout page, and they're able to actually order the actual love letter. Does that sound like a reasonable way to do it?
It sounds reasonable, yeah, for sure. I mean, you can like sometimes there's easier ways with Stripe as a direct integration, but I think this is like seems really robust, and you're gonna have all the information you need at every step. Like this is, I feel like this is pretty solid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nicely done,
Thank you.
Dominic.
Thank you. So I guess you guys will be seeing something around Mother's Day in a couple weeks.
Yes, you picked good dates to launch these.
Yeah.
Love it.
But thank you again.
Yeah, you bet. All right, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and call it a wrap. And I'll upload this. If you have anything else we didn't get to today, please chat it. And then I will definitely add it to our agenda for next week. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks.